I love Tim Sweeney so much. I think he's amazing. I think that... What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Watchtime. Man, okay, we actually synced that pretty well. That was not planned, by the way, so I'm a little bit taken aback.
Guys. We are back for another week of Watchtime. I'm excited to get into it this week. We're going to be talking about Ludwig and the new Twitch sub world record. We're going to be talking about Epic's $1 billion funding round, along with a few other topics. But first of all, I am very excited to tell you guys that I have the answer to the question of last week, which was the Lil Nas shoes that sold for over $1,000 a shoe that were infused with a drop of real human blood. Where was the blood coming from? Guys, not only have I tracked down where the blood has come from, I know the person whose blood it is. I cannot believe I'm even saying this out loud. Elliot is reacting to this for the very first time because he doesn't know. But I literally know the person that spent days of their life pricking their arm to get drops of blood that were infused into Lil Nas's shoes.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry, because what do you mean days? Because I don't even know who the person is yet. I've also seen how blood donations work, and I'm pretty damn sure you can take out like 3 liters in a go. Surely that's enough for 1,000 drops of blood.
So I have to say, last week, I casually mentioned that we'd done a little bit of work with Mischief before. And actually, one of the guys at Mischief was one of the people that helped launch our NFT with the boys, our Foot Pics NFT. You can clearly see this guy is very creative and has a lot of different ideas. The man is Daniel Greenberg. He works at Mischief. I was literally texting him yesterday about something totally different. And then today, Jack, our production manager, links me an article about where the blood has come from. He doesn't know Daniel. And then I see Daniel's name in the article. And so I just texted Daniel and I said to him, I was like, Daniel, tell me it's true. Were you the person putting drops of blood in the Lil Nas shoes? And he comes back and he says, yes, it was my blood.
Oh my God.
I said, this is incredible. He said, it's Daniel Greenberg's blood. What can I say? I'm devoted to the craft. You've got the person.
I feel like I would want like a 10% cut of any, I don't know if it's a shoe or a shirt. I don't care what product you're selling. If it contains my literal human blood, I want 10% on every sale.
If your blood is on the line, like if a part of my human body is in a product that's being sold for $1,000.
Yeah, I want 10%.
Absolutely.
Literally a new like definition for I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this product. Like the sweat from when you're getting all your blood taken, the tears from all the injections, and literally your blood into the product.
Literally the blood is in the product.
All right. Well, that's that was a good way to start the podcast.
Isn't that funny?
I'm glad we got that answered.
That we were like debating for 5 minutes over who the person possibly was that was putting the blood in.
That's what you were laughing about right before the podcast,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's very funny.
Yeah.
That is very funny. It is. I of all things did not expect us after last week to be able to text the person whose blood was in the shoes.
Neither did I.
You know what is weird? I was going to say, Grace, I think, anyone could have done that because I feel like the line of people wanting to, like just give away their blood into a product isn't probably that long. But then I was like, no, I actually reckon millions of people would probably want to put their blood into Lil Nas shoes. So, you know what, actually, that is an exclusive thing. And now he can put that in his obituary in 60 years from now.
LinkedIn profile for sure.
LinkedIn profile. I am the blood of Lil Nas shoes.
Too funny.
Love it.
All right, let's jump into our first topic of the day, Ludwig. Today, literally, breaking news, guys. You come to Watchtime and you hear it here first.
It's hitting hot and fast.
And you watch it here first. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe, by the way.
Ludwig beat Ninja's long-standing all-time subscriber record on Twitch, which was 269,155.
I think he's only the second person to hit over 200,000 subs.
Yeah, no, legitimately, it's a crazy, crazy sub record. I'm about to find out what his current number is standing at as we record. But I think the craziest thing, when you remember, is that's 269,000 subs at a minimum, and a lot of them would be more than this, of $5 USD to do that, which means 1.25 million. And I think creator revenue splits are about 70-30 now, 80-20 for that kind of stuff on Twitch, which means that Ludwig has made $1 million off subscribers alone.
It's absolutely insane. And Elliot, do you want to just do the quick backtrack of how he's been doing that? Like what's led to this moment over the last month? Because he's on the 31st day of a subathon, right?
Yeah. So subathons have always been this thing that people on Twitch would do effectively as a money grab.
Explain what that is.
So a subathon is basically where you, I mean, it really isn't anything most of the time. Most of the time a streamer will just declare, this is a subathon stream. And then basically all of a sudden it's like, okay, well now like the whole goal of the stream is you're expected to subscribe, and the goal is to just get a bunch of subscribers. AKA, it's like me starting up a stream and being like, guys, very exciting, good, awesome news today. Today is a give me money stream. It's very exciting. What we're all gonna do is you're all gonna PayPal me $200 each, and I'm going to do what I normally do. And that's it. That's the whole stream. That is basically what subathons normally are.
But that's not what he did.
No. So he basically was doing, I believe it started already as a longer than normal subathon, but then added in a rule that was like for every new subscriber. So there was like a clock, like a 24-hour clock on the stream. But it was like for every new subscriber, the length of the stream gets extended by, I think it was 7 seconds or 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. So basically, in theory, people could keep subscribing and it would continue to add time to the stream.
The ticker was always running down.
Which I didn't realize, but today is day 31, which is the maximum length he said that it could go for of the subathon. And he beat Ninja's record today, which means, and don't know if he announced this before, if this is obvious to everyone, but obviously he literally calculated the additional time that a new subscriber would add so that if it did make it 31 days, that would be the new sub record.
Oh, that's amazing.
Do
you think he thought that through?
100%. Well, it's not a coincidence that he hit the exact number of subs needed to beat Ninja on literally the final couple of hours of the stream. Yeah. Like, that's not a coincidence.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So that's, so I don't know if
you think he did the math?
Absolutely did the math.
He ran the numbers.
He was like, okay, so yeah.
1 + 1 equals...
Crazy.
Subs ever.
But the fact that he made that is insane. The more insane part is the amount of money he made, which is minimum $1 million from subs alone this month. Then you think about donations on top of that, probably another several 100,000. You think about ad revenue because he's pulling literally between 50 and 70,000 viewers permanently during this stream. The guy probably pulled home easy $2 million in a 31-day stream. So, you know what? Respect the hustle. It's pretty good. The only thing to remember, unlike, for example, YouTube, where you become a member and that's like a monthly subscription, and a lot of people who do become subscribers on Twitch are people who are paying like the monthly subscription, especially with subathon streams. A large way that a lot of the subs actually get accumulated is like gifted subs or definitely people who are like, they just want to be there for like the moment, but not necessarily every month.
They're there for the night, but not to commit long term, you know?
Exactly. It's a one night sub stand. But yeah, so that number, which is currently at 277,000, I'm expecting will drop very, very hard over the next 30 days as all the ones that got gifted start to deplete.
You know what? For the moment, he's living life. He's killing it.
You even think about it though, even if he loses 2/3 of the number of people and he drops down to 100,000 subs, he's still got 100,000 subs paying minimum $5 a month, which for him is $4 a month, which is 400 grand a month USD. And then you add that on top of his other revenue and sponsored, and the fact that he's probably built his brand so much through this stream that now his concurrence, his sponsors, everything's going to go up. Crazy. Yeah. I'm expecting to see a lot more 30-day subathon streams.
See, I was thinking, I was like, damn, 30 days is a long time. Like, what were you doing 30 days ago? I don't remember. I don't know what I was doing 2 weeks ago, but it feels like a long time ago. I'm like, 30 days, day in, day out streaming.
You know
I'm like,
30 days is a long time, but you know what else is a long, long thing? The number of zeros in your bank account when you make $2 million in a month.
I wouldn't know. I've never had that in my bank account.
But like
true.
But like I was thinking about it, right? If 7 seconds is a $5 sub, that means every minute he's making roughly like, I mean, you throw in a couple of donos, $100. So he's making $100 a minute. I personally would live stream for $100 a minute, like for a very long time. Like
Yeah.
imagine, it's like one of those Mr. Beast challenges where he just keeps saying like, for every time you throw this ball, I'm going to give you $1. It's like every minute you're live, I'm going to give you $100. I would literally be like, bring me all the caffeine in the country.
So
I'm
true.
going live.
It's a very Mr. Beast approach to streaming.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was inspired by that. Anyway, he has ended it today, or he will be ending it today.
He will be
31
ending it
days,
today.
which I think honestly, for health and safety purposes, is probably the right call.
Definitely the right call.
How do you think this will change? Do you think beyond seeing a lot more 30-day sub streams, how do you think this will change the way that people stream for the going forward?
I mean, like, I think other people will do this, but I don't think it will necessarily hit the same. Like, maybe some big streamers might be able to pull it off to the same degree. But I feel like a lot of the reason this was so successful was it was like a first.
Yeah.
It's not so much, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people love Ludwig, but there's a large number that are part of this 277,000 that are just like, oh, I want to be part of Twitch history. Yeah. They're like, oh, this is a moment in
I think it was incredibly
time.
creative. And I think like when you saw Mr. Beast and his style of content start to come up, you saw a lot of copycat or inspired accounts that like followed on from that. So I think it'll be interesting to see if that happens to some extent and people try to gamify subs more.
And now this is my final pitch to close out the topic.
Okay.
Ludwig, you've already made an absolute ton of money, but you want to make a bit more? I got an idea for you, and I will only take 30% of the overall if you decide to use this. We now mint the moment where you overtook Ninja and set the all-time Twitch sub record, and we sell it as an NFT. You, me, millions. Let's do it. Bam. Literally, that would be the ultimate like cap to the whole thing. Is like you round out the stream by NFT selling the moment where you beat the Twitch sub record after this month of hype leading up to it. That is like the biggest marketing campaign of all time. You're making money from something that made you money. Like you're charging money for people to buy the moment, and that moment symbolizes a moment where you made a bunch of money. So you're making money from when you made money. Like, I love it.
Bro,
it's everything about it.
Capitalism! I can't handle any more conversations about NFT. I swear. I open my inbox every morning.
No. Even you talking right now about NFTs is more than I want to hear about NFTs right now.
There's
got to be another topic.
Is I open my inbox every day. I reckon I get at least 5 emails from different people that are just like, hey, I run this NFT company, like would love to chat about like doing some stuff with your creators. And I'm like, I swear to God, 3 months ago, no one was even talking about the word NFT.
No.
Now everyone and their mother owns an NFT company. I'm like, what are you guys, where have you come? Like, what was your day job last year?
I am now certain the crypto bubble is huge and it will burst.
Yeah.
But it is literally like when you've got all these people coming out of the woodwork, like, yeah, run an NFT company, bro. I could do NFT startups. Like, what about it? So like when you go to New York and you're talking about like the guy making your coffee at Starbucks and you're like, oh, like, dude, what's up? He's like, oh yeah, like this is my part-time gig, but like I'm also like I manage musicians. Like, I'm a music manager. Like it's literally becoming like the new side hustle that everyone is doing.
It's too much.
And at a certain point, it is too much. Love crypto, love the foundations of the technology. I think it's really cool. I think it's only going to get bigger, but I do think right now it's gone a little bit too far. All right, next topic, because otherwise we're going to get sidetracked on crypto for the next 4 hours like we always do.
Foot picks moment while we had it.
We had our foot picks moment. We came in, we cashed in on the NFTs, and we got the
So, Epic has announced today that they have completed a $1 billion funding round. That's a billion with a big B, which currently values Epic Games, which is obviously the producers of Fortnite, at about $28 billion. Now, I think $28 billion is probably...
Which is still less than Roblox, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. Like, Roblox is one game. Epic Games has, like, the Epic game, the Unreal Engine, Fortnite, the millions, billions of IP.
You can listen to our episode from a couple weeks ago where we broke down Roblox's listing.
Yep. Quick, don't mention Roblox again or I'm going to start ranting.
Okay. Elliot thinks they're overvalued, obviously. Anyway.
With my keen understanding of financial economics and stock market trading.
Yes. Epic has announced they've raised $1 million. It values the company at about $28 billion, which is just a number that is honestly kind of difficult to conceive how big that actually is. I think it was really, really interesting the way that they phrased this announcement. Tim Sweeney, who is the CEO and founder of Epic Games and still the controlling shareholder, so he's got to be happy about this. He announced, when he made the announcement this morning, he said, thank you so much for supporting Epic and the metaverse. And I thought that, I read it and I was like, that choice of words is really interesting. It wasn't supporting Epic and Fortnite, or supporting Epic and Fortnite and the Epic Game Store, or supporting Epic and our game portfolio, which are all words that he could have used. Epic is a company. They obviously, Fortnite is their major project. They also have Unreal Engine, they have the Epic Game Store, and they have a whole host of other games. He chose not to use any of those. He chose to say Epic and the metaverse. And I think that's really interesting. It stems from a conversation that we've had on and off, honestly, like since we started Watchtime, about what Epic's long-term plans are, what their strategy is, and even last week where we were talking about the scene of AAA games at the moment and the fact that it's a little bit dry, and are we going to see more new AAA games, or are we going to see games like Fortnite continue to develop into more complex, complex games where you're able to do a lot more than what the current functionality is. It's interesting, and I'm really keen to get Elliot's thoughts on this, but it sort of stems on from a thought that we've discussed for a while, where it's like non-casual games can be quite risky. And I think in the past there's been a sort of theme where it's like the game launches, the game becomes popular, hopefully the popularity fades, and then you have to follow up with a new IP or a sequel, or you need to refresh it in some way. And I think the only exceptions there are games that have created some sort of metaverse, like Minecraft, like Roblox, like GTA 5, I guess.
Yeah, and even they're not really doing a metaverse, I think, in the way that Epic and Fortnite want to do.
So what do you think? Why do you think it's interesting that he chose to say the metaverse?
I would like to start off by saying I love Tim Sweeney so much. And I think he's amazing. I think that two things. It's very refreshing to see a billionaire that I get the sense does not give a crap about money. Like, this guy literally wears like $10 Target t-shirts and orders Uber Eats instead of having like a 50-man custom home chef team like prepare him whatever he wants every night, which I think is just so good. But then, and in that sense, he gives me Elon Musk vibes, where I think they both don't really care so much about the like lifestyle that the money they've made can give them. But I think the best part overall is that, unlike Elon Musk, I don't think there's any ego for him. I think Elon, don't get me wrong, I think he's done some really cool stuff and overall great visionary person, but like I think for Elon there is a lot of like Elon Musk brand in there for him, where he's like, he likes being seen as the person at the forefront. Tim Sweeney, I just don't think he cares. He doesn't care if his name's on it or not on it. He's just like, I want to make cool things. I want to make cool things, and then I want to go home in my $10 Target shirt and cargo shorts and eat fried chicken. Like, that's literally...
Does he eat fried chicken?
Apparently eats fried chicken. Apparently, like, he'll literally be just driving home and just like get KFC like every second night. Nice. Like, the dude, I don't, yeah. Anyway.
I respect it.
And when he makes a bunch of money, what does he normally do? He goes and he just buys a large area of forest and wildlife and says, yeah, this is all protected now. Like, you can't touch it.
That's sick.
All he does with his money is buy large areas of natural land and say, you can't touch them.
Or KFC.
Or $10 cargo shorts.
Okay, but tell me about the metaverse. Do you think, do you think they're thinking about that?
I think it's super interesting, and I'm probably going a little bit too deep here, and I hope I don't lose anyone on the way. But Epic, obviously, kind of their biggest thing up until Fortnite was the Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is basically, games are kind of made with game engines. They're kind of like the building blocks of what the different developers create. It doesn't matter if you're making Mario or you're making a racing game or you're making Call of Duty, all those games are built on engines. Those engines define the physics rules. A lot of the time they define assets. They define how like light reflects off surfaces. It's basically the building blocks for whatever universe you're building. I think it's super interesting because in many ways, like Epic's product was, and this is where I think I might lose some people and maybe I'm going a little bit crazy myself. Epic's product and the core of their business, the Unreal Engine, was in itself, in a way, a metaverse. It was a product that allowed people to come in and create whatever different brands, whatever different games, whatever different things they wanted, all built off this one core product.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Fortnite, they've created a much more consumer-friendly version where it's, kind of like playground mode and you can create custom games and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously they brought in a lot of brands with skins and those kind of things. Tim Sweeney seems to have like an obsession with this metaverse thing, which obviously just seems to be the way that things are going. You look at Roblox, you look at everything, all the most successful games, Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite. It's about creating like a sandbox that you then let people get creative. And I think that it seems like Epic is moving into that space more and more quickly. And I think they're also moving into it in a more and more kind of structured and logical way than almost any other company. GTA is kind of like, oh, we kind of gave you the tools and people create racing games and custom modes and RPs, but it's not really done that cleanly. Same with Minecraft. A lot of it is community supported servers and Minecraft's just like, yeah, we just created the world. You guys can kind of mess with it and we probably won't sue you.
Yeah.
Whereas Epic, I feel like, is very much going in with, we are deliberately creating these brand partnerships with DC, Marvel, all these different other game publishing things. Like they're working so hard to get as much IP like authorized into their game universe as they possibly can. Now, I think what's interesting to me though is I still don't know what they're going to do with that or where they're going to go with it or what the ultimate goal is, because I think that they almost got a little bit too carried away where there were a few seasons of Fortnite where they were just like throwing stuff in. They're like, oh, look, Star Wars in Fortnite. And everyone's like, okay, yep, cool. But like, what does this add to the experience? Like why, like we get it. You managed to get authorization to use this IP in this game, but that doesn't necessarily make the game better.
Yeah.
So I think now Epic's like, okay, like mixing and matching IP is cool, but I think they now need to try and refine that and figure out ways where, okay, adding this in, like how's that actually going to make the game better? It's not just like, oh, we put a Master Chief skin in. It's like, no, what does this add for the player? And I think that's what they're still figuring out. But I do think that ultimately their goal of that metaverse is so clearly where the games industry is going.
Why do you think that's the goal? Why do you think a metaverse is the goal? Like Epic obviously has the potential to make great games. Why do you think Tim Sweeney is obsessed with the idea of a metaverse rather than thinking like, how can we make a Fortnite 2.0?
Because I mean, like, I just think if you look at everything these days, like it's not release culture. I think we talked about this in the last episode. Yeah. Like, which is almost for certain developers has made them lazy. For example, not fully. Like Rockstar's done some good stuff recently, but the reason, like we were talking about last week, you don't have a GTA 6 is why make GTA 6 when GTA 5 is literally printing nonstop money? All you're going to do is fragment your player base and risk that core thing that you've built. But
if Tim Sweeney doesn't care about money,
no, he doesn't care about money. But I think there's also just the question of like, yeah, make a sequel if you feel like you can fundamentally add something. Whereas I feel like what they've already got with, so Fortnite isn't a campaign game, right? It's not like GTA 5 where everyone's like, we want GTA 6 because we want this whole new campaign to play through and a whole new like map and a whole new But what Fortnite is and what it's always been is this ever evolving game. And while it might not go from Fortnite 1 to Fortnite 2, that is sort of what they did with Fortnite Chapter 1 and Fortnite Chapter 2. Yeah. They're trying to be like, this is the same game, but it's not the same. They're changing the map. They're changing the weapons. They're changing how like the game rules work and how they function. They're changing like all the way down to the engine and how the physics work. Like they're just constantly iterating on the game. It's almost like they are building Fortnite 2 and they have built Fortnite 2, but instead of just being like, okay, you have Fortnite 1 and in 2 years you'll have Fortnite 2. Yeah. Over the course of that 2 years, they're just like, as they get things done, they put them in the game. They're kind of like, okay, now we've got this thing, which you think will make the game better. Bang, they put that in the game 2 months in. Then 2 months later, and now this is improved, and they put that in. And after 2 years, you end up with a product that kind of is Fortnite 2, but it's just kind of been a seamless transition all the way through.
I like that.
Based in an ecosystem where it's all about retaining players so that they keep just pumping their credit card into the microtransaction model.
Microtransactions, I think, that's so key.
So it's no longer about hitting people with a bam, like once off, get everyone in to play the game.
Yes.
And if they play the game for 1 minute or 1 year, you don't care because they bought the game and you've made your money. Now it's all about, it is about keeping them in the ecosystem. That's where all the revenue is. It's about let them in the door as easy as you can, and then retain. And while you're retaining them, get that credit card info.
Yeah, super interesting. Well, I'm very Very keen to see what happens with Epic. As always, I love following their journey as a company, and I think Tim Sweeney's one of the most interesting people to follow.
Very, very interesting.
We love you, Tim.
Now, in other quick news, I think a week or two ago, we talked about the All Gas No Brakes channel, which kind of came to an end. Well, maybe not came to an end, but basically there was a disagreement between the person who hosted it, who was fundamentally seen as he is the channel, and whoever was producing it, to the point where he parted ways and it looked like the channel was no longer going to be a thing. Well, 3 days ago, he posted a new video on a new channel, which was all about spring break and kind of how people there can behave a little bit interestingly and how they're flaunting coronavirus restrictions.
And it was on a new channel called Channel 5.
On a new channel called Channel 5. And as of 24 hours ago, that video has been taken down.
I know.
For quote, violating YouTube community guidelines.
And you saw the video, right? Before it went down.
Yeah, I did. You know what actually I thought was interesting? It was a mixture of the classic all gas, no brakes, just taking the crap out of stuff. But then also, I don't know if you remember when we were talking about him in an interview he did, he talked about how one of the reasons they separated is he wanted to do more like serious reporting and actually like speak to topics that mattered to him. And I noticed, even though he still very much did it in like the all gas, no brakes style, there was a much larger element where it was cutting between like the crazy humor of these guys just being absolute lunatics and, you know, spring break. Like he would actually he wouldn't say it, but he would cut to like newscasts about people talking very seriously about like, okay, but like the coronavirus stuff, this is causing lots of problems.
Oh, interesting.
Or like having an interview with someone in the community who was being like, yeah, you know, like great to see everyone here having fun, but like also da-da-da-da-da. So it was like, and then it would cut back to the humor, but it would be like, but you could tell he was trying to slide those elements in. But interestingly, as of 24 hours ago, the video is taken down for violating YouTube community guidelines. Now,
I'm sad for this guy. Andrew, I feel like, you know, you got to cut a break.
I'm very sad too, and I'm really interested to see what the reason for that was, because obviously it could have literally just been that there was something depicted in the video that YouTube was like, no, okay, this isn't okay. Like, for example, I could imagine him interviewing someone and them like drinking from a bottle and being like, I'm only 20, man. And then YouTube's like, oh, underage drinking, take it down. Yep. Like that could have definitely happened. Yep. But then there's also part of me that's like, did that old production company get a little bit nervous about what they were up to?
See, you think about
file a copyright strike.
You think about things I just don't think about. I would never have thought. I just like don't think that insidiously about situations. I'm like, no, I'm sure he just like genuinely broke the guidelines. Whereas you're like, no, this was.
There's a corporate agenda. But anyway, we'll keep you tuned. So make sure you come back next week when I'm sure we'll be able to figure out some answers on that one and see what happened.
And I guess speaking of
YouTube community guidelines.
Yeah.
So this was a topic that I don't know if you guys watch a channel called Philip DeFranco, but he basically does YouTube news, and he brought this up at the start of a video today, and I was actually like, you know what, that actually is an interesting take on the topic that I've never heard before. And now you're probably going to see us use some abbreviations in this next section and weird wordings to avoid the very issue that we are going to be discussing, which is YouTube has a real habit and a history, and it's generally an accepted thing, that if you cover certain topics on the platform and you talk about certain more aggressive things that may be crimes or whatever else, that your video is less likely to get promoted. It's less likely to be shown to people. And this actually tracks back a very, 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 very long time, because there was initially, after the initial adpocalypse where a bunch of people were getting demonetized, a lot of people were like, as soon as my video gets demonetized, the views plummet. And YouTube came out and was like, no, there's no link at all between your video being monetized and how much we promote it. It's a goddamn lie. There definitely is, because literally people could plot on a graph their views going across flat, like looking like really strong, like holding it like 50K an hour. And then it would be like demonetized. And it was like the biggest cliff you've ever seen. It would just drop.
And I think the way that I think about this that is helpful is you have to think from YouTube's perspective. YouTube is a company that is designed to generate a profit. The way that they make money is through ad revenue. That is how they make ads, is by showing ads on videos.
Yeah, the interesting thing to realize is, YouTube actually does not care about, mostly doesn't care about the number of views on a video. That's not the relevant statistic. It's how much money that video generates.
Yeah, they care about views only as an end to the more views equals more ad revenue.
Yeah, so basically when a video contains a controversial topic or it's demonetized, all of a sudden, if it's a controversial topic, generally what that means is it gets put into a separate ad category where a lot of advertisers are like, we don't want to have an ad for Timmy's cereal put on a topic that is
unsafe,
not brand safe. So therefore, we're not going to pay as much for it if we are willing to put our ad on that category. So you don't get paid as much if you have not ad-friendly content. So basically, if your video is either A, demonetized fully, or B, is placed into an unsafe brand category, YouTube then makes significantly less money for every viewer that watches the video. So then because of that, YouTube is less incentivized and less likely to promote that video, because it's like, it's kind of like if I told you there's like 2 bags of trash in front of you and I'm like, can you take them to the bin? And it's like, you can pick one. One of them pays you $20, the other one pays you $10. It's like, you're going to take the one that pays you more money and you're going to do that because you're going to make more money.
And that's why you generally see a lot of YouTubers that will try to avoid things like swearing or try to avoid putting violent content in their videos, that sort of thing, because they want to remain brand friendly so that as many advertisers as possible are happy to have their ads on their content, which means the amount that you're paid per viewer is more, which means the amount that you take home is more, and the amount YouTube takes home is more.
And so where we're going to go with this topic is, it's an interesting one, and I also don't know if it's one that has an answer. And I feel like it's very easy to give like the emotional answer, but then also I think you have to be conscious of the business realities behind a lot of these situations, which is the point that Philly D made in his video that I watched this morning, was that by having a system that works that way, where demonetized content or less ad-friendly content gets pushed down in the algorithm and kind of suppressed and hidden from people relative to what it normally would. In a lot of cases, say a video where someone is talking about an allegation of SA or a crime that's being committed between one person towards another person, say that's a news channel that's trying to cover that topic, YouTube suppressing that video and not showing it to people, his argument was essentially saying that they are effectively a lot of the time helping the abuser or the alleged abuser in that situation by covering up effectively a crime that might have been committed, which is an interesting take that I haven't heard before, and also isn't totally incorrect, because YouTube is basically providing a platform where, you know, people believe they're getting an independent kind of, well, not totally independent, but a general kind of spread of coverage about what they need to see and what they need to know. But what they don't know is YouTube is actually hiding and keeping a lot of stuff hidden from the potential viewers, because it knows that if it shows it to them, they won't make as much money.
I think this is an interesting topic. I think I see that perspective. I also see the perspective from YouTube's side, where they have to be very, very careful that they are only allowing information on the platform that isn't misleading or couldn't be interpreted as fake news or that sort of thing, which are issues that they've had a lot of trouble with before. And I think if you like watching and listening to Watchtime, you will love listening to a podcast called Rabbit Hole, which was done by the New York Times last year, which was a series that really went into the rabbit holes of YouTube and really explored what a lot of right and left-wing extremist content looked like on YouTube, and basically how it could really lead people to getting a whole heap of information that wasn't true and that could be extremely defamatory and that sort of thing. And I think if you're thinking about YouTube as a platform, how does it interpret and how does it distinguish between people that are having an opinion and talking about their experiences, which might be considered unsafe, versus actually people that are reporting fake news? I think that's a tough distinction to make, and I can perhaps understand why in that circumstance they might opt to demonetize that content. I think it's really unfortunate that the fact they demonetize it means it's also suppressed from viewership as well.
Yeah, it's actually just such a tough topic that I don't know if there even is a solution. It's almost like it would literally be an act of, and it sounds weird to word this in that way, but it would literally be like an act of charity if YouTube were to alter its algorithm in that way, but like to actually mean that the ad revenue generated by content was not really kind of relevant anymore, because it's effectively saying that they're willing to take a financial hit to make sure that messaging around certain controversial topics gets out there. But also there are like, there's a lot of factors at play. You know, there's the fact that there's things as basic as maybe certain topics aren't suitable for viewers of a certain age, in which case YouTube literally has a very good and legal reason not to promote that topic to people with accounts over a certain age. Then you've got things like you said, the fake news, allegations, that kind of thing, like we've seen on the internet with countless ones of these that come out and end up getting proven that someone who the whole internet went after and effectively tried to like murder is effectively actually not true.
Yeah.
And you know, like for example, what triggered this whole thing for Philly D when he was talking about it in the thing this morning was the video he made on Jake Paul and some of the allegations around him at the moment. And he's now come out and said, you know, on his side, he was like, absolutely not true, didn't happen. Now, obviously, that may or may not be true. Someone in the situation is obviously not being transparent. But the point being is that it's a really, really tough situation now that viewership has shifted so heavily, where YouTube is literally the place where so many people get their information. And a lot of the time, because they're getting that information from creators, from people, from individuals, we inherently are a lot more, especially if it's a channel you have a relationship with, a lot more likely to take something as gospel if we hear it from someone we see as a person rather than a corporation or a company. So that the information that spreads on these platforms is very, very dangerous compared to...
there's no journalistic integrity on YouTube.
No, and you can totally come out and just say something that isn't true,
right?
Or it might be.
And I think YouTube has, you know, they have to be realistic and responsible that they're not able to do human intervention all the time. There's just too much content being uploaded on the platform. They have to have strategies in place that allow themselves to, you know, have a consistent approach to the way that they treat different types of content. But super interesting, could be...
Yeah, it's almost more a philosophical question, I guess, for you guys in the audience of do you think that obviously YouTube is a company, it's here to make money, it has every right to make money, it is its servers that it is paying for hosting the content that we're all watching a lot of the time free of charge, and it has the right to a certain point to say, hey, look, like these servers ain't cheap, distributing video free of charge to millions of people isn't cheap. If we can't recoup on ad revenue, then we don't have a functioning business model. So therefore we do need to promote videos that make us more money.
Yep.
But at the same time, as YouTube becomes more and more of a platform, it isn't just for some fun entertainment, but it's actually becoming... It's
information.
Yeah, it's information and it's news.
It's the second biggest search platform in the world.
Yeah, do they have an obligation to promote things even if those things might not necessarily generate them the best financial return? I don't know. Very interesting. Would love to know what you guys think down in the comments, or tweet it at us, or whatever.
And go listen to Rabbit Hole by the New York Times. I guarantee you, if you find this sort of topic interesting, you'll find that really interesting. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Watchtime. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.